There you are.
Hello.
Hey, Charles, how are you?
I'm fine. How you doing, Shelly?
Good. What's going on? Should I call you Charles or Chip?
You can call me Chip. Charles is usually when it's written. Some folks call me Charles, but everybody that knows me since I was a little kid calls me Chip. So please go ahead.
Okay.
Should I call you Shelly or Showbiz Shelly?
You can call me Shelly. You can also, my name really is Michelle, but if you say that, most people have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, that happens with Charles sometimes. All right, so we'll be Chip and Shelly today for our purposes. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm real good. Yeah. I mean,
Good.
all things considering, right?
All things considered, as good as you can be, right? So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I see that you've been doing some, or actually I should say a lot of singing while in quarantine. Can you tell me about this and all your performances that you've been doing?
Well, yeah, I've been trying a little thing called the Quarantine Livestream every Saturday at 5 Central, Tennessee time, Nashville time. I've been doing a little thing. It's about an hour, and I do a lot of live music. And within that live music, to shake it up a little bit, I will do an interview video. I've done number of interviews now with some of my Outer Banks the cast members my co-stars on that, and with Jonas Pate, who is one of the creators, the showrunner of Outer Banks. And on top of that, also, I've been sending out a couple videos of myself singing a song, and then I get a friend of mine, and we sort of put the duos together, or the trios. I was able to do one of my favorite Nashville songs with Lennon and Maisie called "Believing." And I did another one with my friends, the Adelaides, a Nashville song called "Sanctuary." And just yesterday, Jillian Cardarelli is a fantastic country artist, and she and I wrote a song called "Strong" about her mama and how strong her mama is. And she played that yesterday, and I played guitar. They're not really live or anything, but they're videos. They're almost co-videos, if for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's all kinds of stuff, but I've been having some issues. I almost had an issue getting in touch with you here on the
You
Wi-Fi.
scared me for one quick second. Yeah.
I didn't mean to. We're getting all new service, so we're gonna be good to go. But this seems to be working well.
Yeah, no, this is fine. So where are you? Are you in Nashville right now? Is that where you are?
Yeah, I'm just south of Nashville in Brentwood, Tennessee. My first year of the TV show Nashville, I lived kind of downtown. Germantown is just north of downtown, very close. Because my family was still back in Los Angeles, and I had kids in high school and middle school, and you don't move your family the first season of anything. But once we knew we were getting a second season of Nashville, we moved here 7 years ago, something like that, and we've been in this house ever since. We love it. We're not going anywhere.
Where did you move from?
Los Angeles. I was in Sherman Oaks.
Okay. Yeah,
and, yeah, we liked it, but we preferred this almost instantly. I'm a Virginia boy, and this has a lot of the same topography and a lot of the same Southern hospitality and all that. And then you add the music, Music City. It's kind of not even close.
Right up your alley. So would you say that when you get approached by fans that it's mostly about Nashville? Is that where they usually know you from?
Well, if you consider the fact that we've been in lockdown since Outer Banks came out,
yeah,
it's not really a fair test. It'll be interesting.
That's true. Yeah.
All these young actors on Outer Banks that have just absolutely blown up. I remember when they had a couple hundred followers on Instagram, and now they're up over 2 million.
Yes.
Some of them, but I've been talking to them, and it's so strange for them because it's a very weird fame, this virtual reality fame that they have not. I've seen some of them have gone out now and are instantly being approached. That'll happen more to them than it will to me, but they're going to get all the love in the world for this show. I think there's really no telling. I've been real fortunate in my career that I've been able to do a bunch of different things that different people respond to it. I would be standing somewhere, and the mom and the grandma would be talking to me about Nashville, and the husband would lean in and go, "I'm a Who's Line fan." Yeah. And I would look down, and the little kids would be bored out of their mind. And so I would lean down, and I'd whisper, "I was the dad on Jesse." And they'd go,
"Oh, wow."
So this is like that. A lot of it depends on the age group. Although I will say Outer Banks has sort of blown through all age groups. Families are watching it together.
Yeah, because, okay, so I started watching Outer Banks, gosh, probably more than a few weeks ago, a little while ago. And I've been kind of progressing slowly. I think I'm on episode 5 or 6. And then I was sort of like reading more about it. You get really shady, is that right? Like I
I'm not
kind
going to give you any spoilers. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody,
see,
let
I don't
alone
mind
you.
spoilers, but I understand if there are other people who
If
do
you
on
want to
this
do
show.
this, if you want to do this again
I know.
down the road after you're finished watching, you want to check
That's
back
fair.
in, I'm happy to do it. But until then, I'm not going to say much except that I'm real grateful to the Pate brothers, Jonas and Josh, who created it, along with Shannon Burke. They wrote these great characters, and they gave me an opportunity to make Ward kind of nuanced and not just one thing, but multiple things, which is to say, human. So we've had a lot of fun, and also, boy, did they do a job casting those kids, man.
It's so good.
It's right. It's
It's
everything.
so
I think
good. Yeah.
most people just like being in the van, hanging out with the Pogues, as much as
Yeah.
finding the treasure.
Right? And
Mhm.
what, I mean, can you sort of, what has the experience working on this show been like compared to maybe like, say, Nashville or some of the other stuff you've worked on?
Uh, well, it was different for sure. The biggest difference, a couple of them, one was that it was in Charleston. So I was going back and forth because it's obviously a big ensemble, and Ward, especially in the beginning, is not in it all the time, as much certainly
Mhm.
as the Pogues and the Kooks there. Um, so I was able to go back and forth, which was great because I was doing my music at the same time, and I still am. Deacon was and also something different was sort of one of the bang-on leads of Nashville, which was obviously also still an ensemble. So that meant we weren't working every single day, but I definitely had more scenes, and at least especially early on in Outer Banks. And then you add the music to that, so there was a lot more to learn in terms of line and music and songs. But other than that, a lot of it, a lot of it's the same. Oh, I'll tell you another one that we ended up with Nashville, we did a lot. We had some sound stages here just north of Nashville that we did a lot of our shooting in there, like Deacon's house, Raina's house, the Bluebird. All of these were actually indoors. Now, I'm not saying we didn't shoot all over Nashville, because we did. If you had a map of Nashville and you put a highlighter wherever we shot,
Heard
the
me.
whole town would be yellow. But Outer Banks was, I don't know that I shot anything on a sound stage. I shot virtually everything on location. So Tanny Hill, or Ward and Rose's house, we shot in that house. When we
Okay,
were
yeah.
shooting on the boat, we shoot on the boat.
You
So
can
that,
tell it looks like it. Yeah, for
yeah, and
sure.
also in many ways that helps with your the verisimilitude of it all. You're sort of, it feels real because it is real. So hopefully that helps make you a little more real.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, you mentioned Whose Line Is It Anyway? That's how I first came to know you, is Whose Line Is It Anyway? I was obsessed with that show and obsessed with you on this show. How hard was it to do that? Or did it just come so easy to you?
Well, you know what? I sort of went through different stages of it. When I first tried out for it, this is years and years ago. You weren't even around, and I was in England. I was playing Buddy Holly in a play in England in the show Buddy, and I got an audition for this thing. I think at that point I was too young to be scared or to be nervous. And I also had this great job where I didn't need, and also Whose Line, what in the world is Whose Line Is It Anyway? This is years before anybody here knew of it. So
Yeah.
it was a show I hadn't heard of. So I just went out and had a good time. After Buddy was over and I was going back and forth and I realized it was making me some money, then slowly but surely you started going, all right, this is important. Be funny, Chip. Come on. Then of course there's no muscle you can flex to be funny. You just have to relax. And so it actually got hard for a little bit. I was putting too much pressure on myself to the point where I didn't get asked back on the British show for a while. And when it came to the United States, I wasn't in that first season. They had a whole nother audition process. I went in, I auditioned again, but then I had sort of done a mental hack and a mind correction where I said, don't worry about being funny. Just go have fun. Just go chill. Have your, the best time you can. You love hanging with these guys. Just go interact. And once I did that, that was the switch that made everything easy. It's probably a good life lesson in general.
Yeah.
Everything that we obsess about too much and go, be really good at this. I don't do that with music now. I don't walk on stage and go, be amazing. I don't do that.
It
I
is a
go,
lot of
have
pressure.
fun, make
Yeah.
a connection. That's all I do.
Yeah, and someone asked earlier actually, so because I remember all the skits that you used to do with Wayne Brady, because you do a lot of like the singing stuff together. He has his TikTok thing going now. Would you do a TikTok? Are you gonna do a TikTok? Do you have a TikTok?
I have not done any of those yet. But I might. Wayne, that dude is so talented. He's really
So yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah.
I guess I don't know. Is there a I haven't heard of a groundswell that I do TikTok. Is there one here on Instagram? Is Instagram going to shut us off if we do my TikTok groundswell here? I'd be up
I
for it.
hope not.
We
Yeah.
just did. My wife and I just did a short little video the other day, sort of imitating the little candy challenge that
I
everybody's doing to their
saw.
kids.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that seems like that would be a TikTok type thing. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. You could do that on there. Yeah.
All right. So I'm not too old for it. Is that the consensus? Is that right?
No,
Okay.
no, I
All right.
think it's an all ages thing.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll think about it then. I know everybody on the show has it probably except me,
I don't
including my
have one
friend
either. Yeah.
Caroline. And by the way, I just read somewhere that I guess TikTok has similar thing as tags or how many things they're about something. Outer Banks TikTok just went over 1 billion. 1
You're,
billion.
you are kidding.
No, it's wonderfully
Wow.
insane. There's this. I've always been so blessed by this Nashville fan base, many of whom still are legitimate diehard fans of the show and kind enough to be of mine. And this whole other fan base, and they're overlapping for sure, but it's really cool.
Yeah, and you know what? I just saw a few questions scroll by too. Season 2 of Outer Banks coming? Yes or no? Can you say?
We don't know yet. They
Okay.
Netflix ordered the scripts, so they are currently writing the scripts, and I imagine they'll turn those in, and Netflix will go, "Ooh, I want to see that." So that's
Yeah.
what we're got our fingers crossed for. I think everybody involved in it would certainly love to make some more. I won't tell you how the other one ends. You'll see there's cliffhanger for sure. But
I know. And also, I think somebody else said, what was your favorite scene? Do you have a favorite scene that you filmed on Outer
ooh,
Banks?
ooh. Man, I would say a couple. I'm not going to go to one because you can't stop me.
I don't want to limit you. Yeah.
There was a scene with Madeline Klein, who plays my daughter Sarah, in her room, and it comes later. You haven't seen this yet, where Ward and Sarah have a real heart-to-heart about what's going on, and not all of that made it into the show because there was a lot going on, so they cut some of it. But shooting that one with her was really nice. It was there's some very real moments. It's obviously a big heightened thrill ride, but I always try to make these moments and sort of the writers where, all right, let's really connect here and make all that have some more meaning. So that was one. Another one is John B and I on the boat. You will come to understand what that is. That was Chase Stokes and I, and we spent a couple days on this big, beautiful yacht out on the open sea. Like I said, we weren't in some soundstage with people throwing buckets of water at us. We were out. There was one portion of that show where Ward has to go climb from the very back of the boat up a couple of the ladders. And the boat's going full speed. And we happened to be, I guess, going right into the wind. And the water was coming up around the sides of the boat so much that when I approached that ladder to climb up there, I thought, I don't even know if I can get up that ladder. It's very possible that I will be swept off the boat if I try this. They were filming me from afar, from other boats and from drones, so they could get a shot of the whole thing. So there's a walkie-talkie. I don't really have anybody to talk to. And I'm looking at those stairs, and I'm like, there's a waterfall coming down. I don't know if I can do this. I'm probably just vain enough that I would have tried it if then it also didn't occur to me, you're going to get absolutely soaked. It's going to look ridiculous, and you won't be able to shoot the scene anymore because you'll be just wiped out wet. So I sort of called the thing off, and they slowed the boats, and we took another direction. I was able to get up that ladder.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Also, too, I don't know, you were in The Office, too. Do people ever, what was that experience like? I mean, do people approach you about that?
Well, you got to know, The Office is everything to everyone, especially on Netflix. The Office, forget Tiger King, The Office is the king of Netflix, and has been forever and will be, probably for as long as it's on there, which I understand is not going to be forever. But also just social media, TikTok, Instagram. There's something about that show. I go down that rabbit hole constantly. I'll just spend hours just flipping through outtakes of The Office. I don't mean mine. I just mean theirs. And those folks are so incredibly hilarious. That thing just holds up completely. So yeah, there's absolutely folks that go, Josh from Stanford, and they recognize that I was the guy. I was the good boss over in Stanford that yelled at Jim because he wasn't playing Medal of Honor right.
Yeah, right. So was there like a moment from that show, like when the cameras would shut off, did everyone just break out into laughter? Like were people still just as silly, like off
Oh, well,
cameras? They,
people, there was always a really great vibe there, and people would laugh before the cameras went off. They were expert at not doing that, but sometimes that's what all those bloopers are about. But
yeah.
for me, especially, you know, when scenes with Michael Scott there, it was that those were the hard ones too. Or if I was doing something with Rainn Wilson, who played Dwight, when those guys would be doing something, or John Krasinski did Jim,
Mhm.
you knew that when it was all written, by the way. Everybody thinks it was it feels like it was improvised because
Right.
it was so loose. But Steve Carell or those guys, they would do the scene, but then they would push it a little more. And 99% of the time, my job was just to stand there like this, like I didn't think what they were saying was funny at all.
Like how do you do that even? I don't know if that'd be hard to
I don't know.
do.
You should probably teach me because I laughed way too many times. I was always the guy breaking on whose line is it anyway. I
I know,
would
that's
leave
why I was
those
so
shows with
impressed
my
by them.
face hurting. But anyway, you're just supposed to stand there like them,
Yeah.
and they would just add more and more, and then they'd say cut, and they'd all howl laughing. So yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
I've been real fortunate with some great shows to be on that where you could smile a whole lot.
Yeah, and I always wonder too, with guys like yourself who do music and acting, is there one that you prefer more than the other? Or is it nice to have a show like Nashville where you get to do both? Or
Well, that Nashville thing was kind of sweet because more than kind of sweet, it was the sweetest because I didn't
yeah.
have to answer. I got to do both every
Yeah.
single day. Um, I've analyzed it since then because it's a fair question, and I realized that there will come a day, I imagine, where I'm not acting anymore. I don't know. I mean, years down from now, or I can imagine not acting. I can't imagine not playing a guitar and singing. I'll be an old man on my swing and
Hmm.
I'll be doing that. There won't, you know. Having said that, watch. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's been some amazing acting careers that really took off at like age, late
No,
'60s or age
that's true.
'70
You
like
can't
that.
count it out. Yeah. What about, so
Yeah,
would you say that music comes more naturally, maybe? Or does
I
acting?
think the
I don't
thing
know. What
is
would you
that
say?
music is the more personal connection. Acting, I'm saying somebody else's lines, and the way that somebody is directing me to say it. They are editing it. They're dressing me. They're putting me where to stand. I love all that collaborative nature of it all. That's what makes it kind of a miracle when something comes out great. Is like, do you know how many decisions had to be made to make this happen? With the
Yeah.
music, sometimes it's simply I'll think of a line and then I'll think of a tune and then I'll write a song. Or I'll walk into a room with some great songwriters. Maybe you don't even know them, but you just got a co-write. And from that will come this song. That feels more to me like acting feels like doing something. Although a lot of it is being, there's a lot of going there, doing, and then just being. Music feels more like the breathing to me. Like,
Mm.
I got to eat, I got to drink, I got to breathe, I got to make music. So it's a little more direct into the heart.
Yeah. Is it true too? You're in the Guinness Book of World Records for something. Is that true?
That is bizarrely true. Yeah.
Tell me,
Couple years,
what is this record you set? Tell me.
well, couple years back, I was here in town and I wasn't able to tour like all the other country artists. Um, but I was able to write all the time because, as I said, it was an ensemble. So I'd have work some days, then I'd go write other days. And because of that, I started getting a whole bunch of songs, and I knew I wanted to put music out. I figured it might be an EP or an album, but every time I tried to figure out what songs would go on and what songs would stay off, I just felt like maybe why am I doing an album right now? I don't have an album concept. Let's just start putting out singles. So I went out and held my phone up and I promised to put out a brand new single every day for as long as I could, every Friday. And that was the beginning of the Every Single Friday project. I thought it might go 24, 25 songs. 54 songs later,
Wow.
I finished up. And about a year after that, I was on the Today Show when the people of Guinness came by and surprised me with a plaque saying, yeah, nobody else ever did that before, that 54 songs in 54 weeks thing. So that's my Guinness World Record. And
That's
man,
impressive.
it's kind of cool.
That's impressive. Would you try to beat it again, you think, or was that enough?
I don't think so. I can't imagine that. That was a very
That's pretty.
particular time. As I said, I was here. Um, doing Nashville, but not able to tour. Now I'm more able to tour, do other shows.
Yeah.
I think I more want to put out maybe an EP or an album with something more of a concept surrounding it. Although I have to admit, people have been asking about that. This whole thing, this whole the COVID and the quarantine and all that, it's weird to have not only your mindset, but global mindset changed in the middle of recording an album, in the middle of the production of an album. It's sort of like, am I still that guy? Are we all still am I still the guy saying these things? Are they still the people hearing these things? Do they make sense right now? And I think in the end, most of them will, but there's a little unsure moment in the in-between where not that it's frivolous. Music is the least frivolous thing because it's medicine for the heart and the soul and all that. In the same way that Outer Banks is this wild treasure hunt ride and can obviously seem, that makes it a little silly. There's some wild dramatic adventure, but honestly, it's really blessing people during this lockdown that get to go on this adventure. So I respect both of them immensely. I'm just sort of saying that I think it makes you think of it all a little differently. And I definitely am doing that, but music will be coming out before long.
Cool. And okay, so a few things that fans wanted to know, which I wanted to get to before we go. So someone asked, have you been co-writing while you've been in quarantine with people via FaceTime or Zoom? And if so, has it been hard?
Well, I actually didn't do much at all, even my own writing. What I do, my writing is a lot of like, I've used this before, but like making a quilt in that I collect patches. First you collect all the patchwork, and then later you sew them together. So for me, that's lines, lyrics, titles, bits of music, melodies, chord progressions, all those things. I have them all on my phone or in notebooks. And then when I go to write or co-write, I bring them with me and we assemble from there. It took me a while I was always doing the little notes and things, but I didn't even really start writing for a while. My first co-write was about 3 weeks ago with the guys from Locash and Danny Myrick. And the coolest thing is we instantly loved that song. I love it so much. I keep playing it. I'm not going to say anything more about it, but hopefully they'll be cutting it soon.
Such a nice guy. How do you get to that place where maybe you can't be so nice when you're acting? How do you do that?
Well, first of all, however nice I am, I'm a human being, and I get angry, and I get short, and I get, things if something I want doesn't really happen, I'll get down, so it's not like I don't have access to those emotions. I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but like everybody else, I have the full, spectrum of some days I'm pretty awesome. Some days I'm not that great. And what you do then is you just amplify those things and you just raise the stakes. And that's what I love about this character of Ward is that it's the stakes are huge for him. So the decisions he makes along the way, I hope that even though you don't agree with the decisions, you go, I can see where there's a decision to be made there, at least.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's pretty much it. Or we all feel an anger inside that is outside of what you act on. Like, like you stub your toe, you do anything, and you're just like, but we don't share that with the world, even hopefully with the people we're around. But it's in there. And so once again, the shows like this, roles like this, mean that you get to let it out.
You got to access it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up. I love it. Okay. And then someone else said, is your Deacon wax figure lonely now that Raina's wax figure's in New York instead of Nashville?
Well, of course, but I would say, isn't that kind of appropriate? Isn't Deacon's wax figure meant to be lonely?
I was going to say, by the way, I talked to your co-star, Lennon Stella, just a few weeks ago. She's awesome. And she's has such fond memories, of the show, too. And it's got to be kind of cool to see just all you guys sort of develop from that and grow up and do new things and new projects and stuff.
Well, yeah, especially her at this moment. Believe me, Maisie's going to have her day in whatever field she wants to do. But this is Lennon's moment right now, as Maisie will tell you. And I can't really describe the pride I feel because I remember from the very beginning, I forget sometimes when I go look at pictures how young they were. And the reason I forget is how talented they were and how they were fairly mature. They understood the work that was going on and what they had to do. And man, would we laugh. We would laugh and laugh and laugh and have so much fun while we were doing those things. But my goodness, it was their sweet, sweet hearts. You know how that lets you root even more for somebody?
Oh yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
when you meet somebody, and this must be this way for artists that you meet, whether in music or in acting, that you meet some people and you're like, ah, I used to like rooting
You
for
can
them.
be
That's hard.
disappointed.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then other people you meet and you go, now I root even more. Well, that's how the Stellas are. If you knew them, you'd root even harder for them. And I'm just so blown away by her album.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. It's
Good.
3-2-1. And everybody, if you haven't heard it, go hear it.
Definitely. Is that it, Chip? I mean, do we cover everything? I feel like we covered a lot. You're so awesome. Thanks for hanging out with me.
Oh, thank you so much. Actually, if I'm going to talk up my TV daughter while I'm on here, Instagram, let
Yeah.
me talk up my own daughter,
Yeah.
Taylor Noelle, Noelle, she's my favorite artist right there. She's my daughter, and she's a young artist as well, and she has put out a number of singles right now, and so you can follow her on Instagram Live, because she's been doing some Instagram Lives recently, playing some music, which is so cool for me because she plays a lot of covers and does a lot of requests, and she's a 70s freak. On her Instagram just the other day, she sort of had a term. There was one of those grids that said, what's your favorite 70s song? And instantly she was like, how do I do that? That's her that's her jam, that's her era. So she had a tournament and put all these songs to see which one would win. And of course, Dreams won by Fleetwood Mac. But so she's on Instagram, but she's also on Spotify. All her music is everywhere. And I love it so much. So if anybody wants to go ahead and check that out, Taylor Noelle, Noelle.
How has that been quarantining with the family? Have you guys ever wanted to just like, or you've been good?
Well, our kids are all pretty grown. Taylor's been out of college for this will be 2 years right now. Our son is at CU Boulder. He's just graduated college with an aerospace engineering degree.
Whoa.
Right? Summa cum laude. And then
Yeah,
my daughter Addie is a sophomore at William and Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, and she plays soccer. We were all quarantined in the beginning, but then as it's loosened, they've gone back to their places to quarantine on their own. And I have to admit, I kind of loved it. We don't get that opportunity to all be together now that they're older. We reveled in it when they were young. But we also know that they have to go out in the world and live their lives. It was great to get that time together to do puzzles and play games and things like that. But we're thank goodness for social media. We're in touch all the time. And Taylor, who is still in Nashville, being an artist, we do the outdoor picnic social distancing in the backyard where we keep our 6 feet and just put some chicken on a plate for her and hand it over to her and her boyfriend, but get to spend some time with them. So no, we never really got too crazy about bumping into each other.
Oh, good. What's your game of choice, by the way? What do you guys play?
Which game?
When you said, yeah, like, do you have a game that you guys like to play?
I'm gonna pronounce it wrong, but they brought to us the Settlers of Catan, I believe, Catan.
Oh, okay.
Have you tried that?
No, but I've heard of it.
It's great. It's a board game where you sort of get property and then try to get, I don't know. It's a long deal. But
yeah.
It started off like, I don't know if we're gonna. We know it's a good game when you end up yelling and laughing at each other at the same time, like, no, you know. So, and like Monopoly always ends bad around here, but this one
really? Monopoly gets intense. I like it.
Well, over the years it has. I mean, it never gets too bad, but that's part of the fun. It's just somebody yelling at somebody else and everybody else just laughing their heads off at this.
Yeah.
This is all over a game, guys. Calm down. So we love it, though.
That's awesome. Well, Chip, it was so good to talk to you. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Oh, my pleasure. It was a ball.
Yeah, cool. I'll see you later, and can't wait. Hopefully, season 2, Outer Banks.
There you go. Take care.
Cool. See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.